Okay, good evening. I'm trying something new. The background isn't the best, but the plan tonight is to, well, every night I do online broadcasts using a telephone. So for the past, I've been doing this for quite a while, but the past month or so, couple of weeks anyway, I've been doing daily Dhamma talks based on a verse of the Buddha's teaching from the book Buddha Vachana, or Words of the Buddha. So it's got 365 verses, one for every day of the year. And it got me thinking that it'd be nice to be able to share it with more people, because I think a lot of people are not involved with our group. So the way it's been working so far is we have a meditation group at meditation.sirimangalo.org. Sorry, just a little bit late. So now I'm live via that group. So if you go to meditation.sirimangalo.org, you'll see a meditation group that we have. People come and sign in there and put down how long they're going to do walking for and how long they're going to do sitting for, and we meditate together. And every night at 9 p.m. Eastern, I've been giving Dhamma talks there. So there's a little live section, and when I'm broadcasting live right now, if you go there right now, you'll see that indeed there, let's see, there will be a little link saying audio is live. Click here for a live audio Dhamma. Hopefully that all works. But I thought, well, small audience, why not share this with a larger audience? So that's what I'm doing here. This is sort of going to be another idea. Part of it is the idea was in lieu of Ask a Monk, because opening up questions to the general public has just been, well, it's a lot to organize and so on. So I thought I would open up questions to meditators on meditation.sirimangalo.org. So if you want to ask a question, you have to go to meditation.sirimangalo.org and post the question. But the question has to be posted during the live broadcast. You can't post the question sometime during the week or sometime during the day and expect me to go back and answer questions. If these are questions from people who are online at that time, that's what that's for. So, good evening. Today is August 2nd, and so we have today a quote about the Saraniya Dhamma. These are 6 Dhammas, fairly well known by practicing Buddhists. They're the 6 Dhammas that make one memorable. So it means people remember you, or you could also translate it as these are Dhammas that we should remember, but I don't think that's what it means. They're Dhammas that cause us to think of each other. When friends have them, when family members have these, when fellows in the holy life, our brothers and sisters as meditators, when we have these qualities, then we think of each other. Because of them, they make us think about, they make us fond of each other. They lead to amity, they lead to goodwill. And so they're quite important things that we should all remember. Right. What I was going to say is that we tend to worry about this about ourselves. The idea of the word more memorable makes me think of this sort of feeling that we have of being um, useless, meaningless, meaning hopeless. Having no purpose, being unsuccessful. When we die, we're not going to have a legacy. I've wasted my life. This kind of thing. Feeling that we're unsuccessful in life, unsuccessful in our relationships, and so on. And so these 6 Dhammas are six ways by which a person is truly worth remembering. So these are 6 Dhammas that make us worthy, that make us uh, uh, worth thinking about. Talk about reasons why people would want to remember us or want to think of us. So here you are. We often feel like we have no friends, and um, you know, feeling sorry for ourselves and so on. These are 6 things that you can contemplate, and moreover, you can feel good about yourself with, because they're not that difficult and they're not that advanced or profound. They don't have anything to do with success in business or success in society or so on. Well, not exactly. They have to do with your success in being a good person, really, being a good person to others. People think of you because of these 6 things. So the first 3 are related. It's having deeds and words and thoughts that are based on loving kindness, based on friendliness, based on metta. So metta is half the picture there. This is why it's so universally praised by the Buddha and by Buddhists alike. It's, because it's half the battle for being a person worth remembering, being a good person, being successful in life, having made something of yourself, etc. Is friendliness. People will remember you, will think kindly of you, will help you, will be supportive of you. Talk about people who are unsupportive of your meditation practice. Talk of lack of support among family members and lack of support and encouragement. Friendliness is half the battle, half the fight, half of the recipe to success. It really is a powerful thing, because you can't expect everyone to want to help you, to want to be nice to you, to want to support you in what you do. And so it's easy to fall into negativity and to fall into conflict with others, with these sorts of people. So metta is the practice for this. It's the practice against our own inclination to cultivate conflict and to cause people to want to forget about us, to never want to see us. What we don't want is for good people, when they see us, to think, oh, there comes that person again, a troublemaker or whatever. We want people to think, oh, there comes that person again. He or she is such a nice person, such a thoughtful, memorable person. So friendliness, we should be friendly. You have to work at it. It's easy to fall into become grouchy, and if you're grouchy, even though you might be a nice person, if you're grouchy, less lovable, less memorable. But a person who is kind is someone you remember. You remember the good things. Think about teachers, right? Remember your teachers, and you remember the ones who were encouraging, who were thoughtful, who worked for your benefit, who you really felt cared. Those were the ones who usually got burnt out. Or maybe not, but those were the best teachers, of course, right? You think of your friends, think of people you grew up with. The reason we remember them is because of this aspect of friendliness. Friendliness in deeds, meaning doing good things for each other, helping each other with tasks, with schoolwork, with work, with chores around the house, being supportive of each other. Not just working for your own goals, your own gains, but helping them. And speech, words, kind words that are truly based on friendliness, not hoping to gain ingratiation, not hoping to ingratiate yourself with them. Words that are spoken out of a desire for benefit, a desire to benefit the other person. And thoughts, right? Based on thoughts. If your actions and speech are kind, but your thoughts are like, oh boy, here I'm doing all these wonderful things, and I hope they'll give me and help me, and I hope they'll remember me, right? I hope they'll love me, whatever. Wanting something out of it doesn't, not true friendliness. True friendliness is the wish for the other person to benefit. So based on the mind. These are the 3 doors in Buddhism, and they're very important. They're the basis of karma. All karma goes through these 3 doors. You do it by body, by speech, or by mind. So it's kind of something that is a framework. The 3 doors: the bodily door, the verbal door, and the mental door. The other 3 are more specific. Number 4 is that we share our belongings, share everything. The more sharing and kind and generous we are with our friends, the more they're going to like us. The more amicable. And this part of this teaching is important for monks, because we live in such a tight-knit community. It's easy for tempers to flare, and also because we're not family. Sometimes we've just met each other. The stories I have of monasteries where fist fights broke out and almost getting hit over the head with a broom, this kind of thing. Lots of shouting matches. I've been in my share of shouting. I don't think I've ever shouted at a monk, but I've been shouted at. Oh yes. You see conflict, and so for monks this is important. But transfer this very same teaching over to family life, for example, or social life, friends, works perfectly. I mean, it might sound a little bit odd for a Buddhist monk. So for monks, it's also important. It's important that we're generous with each other, especially for monks, because we don't have an income. We aren't getting paid for anything. So how do you get what you need? And if you have to be specifically getting all these things like toothpaste and toothbrush, and I mean, in the Buddhist time, they didn't use all of the things that we used, like microphones and what have you. But even still, just to get robes, just to get food. So sharing becomes incredibly important, and it's a wonderful, awesome thing, powerful thing that is what keeps us going. It's a very important part of the monastic life. The same goes for lay people, in a family. These little things, broken families that fall into trouble with divorce. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm a bit cynical about love anyway. So it doesn't seem reasonable to me that so many people are getting divorced. I mean, you can't say they just weren't compatible with each other. I mean, we're none of us compatible really, or we're more or less compatible with each other. And I think a lot of times it was just a failure of really caring, right? And that leads, once you hate someone, once you're angry at someone, it's very easy to go down that road, right? In the beginning, you get very angry once. It's a one-off thing because we get angry, but you go with it. You see, anger can easily perpetuate until it's out of control, and you just see red all the time, and it totally obliterates any love you have for the other person. And there's all these little things, if we were thought of the other person instead of thinking, what can I get out of this? I'm not getting it. The common complaint, I'm not getting anything out of this relationship anymore. This is not useful in any relationship or in any aspect of our lives. You don't become happier by getting stuff. This is part of the problem. I'd say a lot of breakups have to do with an intense sensual desire, which also brings with it an intense aversion, tense anger issues. Anger, this rage. There's this interesting quote that we saw today about the opposite, that when you get rid of desire, you get rid of anger as well. Oh, no, when you get rid of anger, you get rid of desire, was it? It was one or the other. And the comparison was just like when you get rid of blood, the pus goes with it as well. I thought it was a poetic simile. Yeah. Okay, so we have sharing. We should share with each other. Share, even the Buddha said, even down to the contents of our alms bowls. So a monk comes back with food, and they have a certain amount of food. Another monk comes back, didn't get enough. Share it. Even if it means you don't get as much as you could and you don't fill up, you're in this together. And as many people say, and I think it's worth pointing out, that we're all in this together. We're like the earth is our ship, right? Through the great ocean. We're all in this boat together. We're all in the same boat, right? And this is what we're seeing with climate change. You can no longer live in isolation. You can no longer say, screw you, I'm going to do what I want. We're dependent on each other. If we don't help other people, we hurt ourselves. So sharing is definitely a wonderful thing. Makes life a lot easier when you share. Just put it that way. Makes it a lot easier than hoarding. Stinginess makes life very difficult. You make enemies, you make people who are bitter, and people don't want to think about you. And whenever they think about you, oh, don't bring up that person's name. It's number 4. Number 5 is being moral and ethical. And in Thai, in Thailand they use one word for this, sila samanyata, which means having equal or equality of morality. And so there was this one place I was where I was keeping the monk one rule, a fairly important rule, and none of the other monks in the monastery were. And so there's at one point one of the monks got up and talked and in front of all the other monks and said to no one in particular about minor rules and how I got into this, but he also said that one of his points was that we have to have equal morality, but that's not what this says. This doesn't just say that. I've talked about this before, because if it were just a matter of getting along, our ability to get along depended on our having equal morality, then people who were murderers and thieves should therefore be able to get along and live in peace, which I don't think is ever the case. They're at each other's throats, they're suspicious of each other, they're fighting amongst each other because they don't have sila. So what this actually says is, if you read the quote that we're studying, is you need purity. If everyone in the community has pure morality, that is a cause for harmony. It causes us to think kindly of each other, to want to live together. So we have to cultivate morality, and we have to have a sense of ethics. I mean, living up to the standard of morality. If you're a layperson, to have 5 precepts. If you're a monk, to have lots and lots of precepts, and to keep as best you can to the rules. I mean, one example of this is the rule in question that I was talking about was touching money. And so in Buddhist countries now, there's a lot of use of money. And one of the big reasons, in the beginning, I was fine with it. I was saying, whatever, I was using money with everyone else, what little bit came as donations and buy, soap or whatever with it. I was doing running this international office in the monastery, so I had phone bills and actually quite a few expenses. But then I just saw the corruption. I saw how it was tearing apart, the Buddhist institution, really. Everyone vying for money and bribing each other to get in good with the right people and move up in the ranks so you could get more money and more power. It was all about money and power. And I saw that none of it would be possible if it weren't for the money. And so I realized, and at the same time I was hearing about all these Western monks who had sort of protested, not just Western monks, but they had gotten in with the Thai monks who don't touch money. And so they had gone that way, and it made sense to me. With their arguments that, well, it's one of the fairly major rules. It's one of the main rules for a novice. So I decided to start keeping it. Because of this, it leads to harmony. And if you just go by the one-sided part of it, how it makes people think of you, when you have money, you're an island in yourself. You have power, you work for yourself, and that can make things quite lonely. When you're a person who has shifted, you might say a person who is dependent on others because they don't have money, but it's not really the case, because you don't ask, you don't look for, you go without. But what it means is it makes people, because you shift your time to helping, to doing good, to sharing the Dhamma, for example, and that makes people think about you. They think, hey, here's someone doing this intense work in the Dhamma. Let's support him. If we don't give food to this person, they won't be able to do it. They'll die, really. And so it makes people think of you, because the upshot in practical, as is totally evident. I mean, one of the big criticisms was that if you don't touch money, you can't survive, especially in the West. In Los Angeles, for example, when I was staying 2 years there were a lot of you can't go on alms round. And I've got a video up of me going on alms round. It was so funny. Everyone was saying, you can't, there's no way. And when I left, the first time I went there, when I left at the end of a couple of months, they were begging me to stay, and so sorry that I wasn't going to be going on alms round, because it was such an outpouring of, everyone was thinking about me every day, because they were so happy. Because every day I was giving like 3 Dhamma talks. The first year I went there, one at 5 a.m. and then one in the afternoon and then one in the evening, and there was so much practice and so much Dhamma going on. It was really great for a while. And so they were so happy, and they were thinking they had something they could do for me, which was feed me every day. And so every day we got way too much food, and then most of the food ended up going back to the meditators who were staying at the monastery. It was great. It was all around a wonderful thing. And you would never have that sort of thing, if I was out buying my own meals, for example, or keeping food, which is another thing monks aren't allowed to do. But the money goes even deeper. When you have money, then you can go drive places. So in Los Angeles, people were driving me. This retired man was driving me around, and it was living quite well, actually. I was quite comfortable, not lacking for anything. Everyone was thinking about it. Anyway, the point is, people think about you when you are when you're principled. I mean, for a monk, that it's in a stark it's extreme, because we have such an extreme set of rules that we really just die, basically. But we're supported by those who appreciate what we do. But for lay people, it works as well. You keep moral, people think about you. If they know here's a person who doesn't drink, who doesn't lie, who doesn't cheat, who doesn't, who has it's a very principled life, and if they see examples of it, people will think about you. They'll think of you when they need help, when they need something, they'll think of you when they're feeling generous as well. They'll think of you. I mean, let's not talk about what good it is for how to bring good for you, but it's just the greatness of what people think about you. You want people to say good things about you. You want to be memorable. You want to be successful, to have a legacy to pass on. This is the best legacy. So, more being ethical. And number 6, to have right view, pure view that is purified, that is right. This is probably most important, right? Because this is to do with wisdom. The number one reason why people are going to think fondly of you, are going to think of you at all, is for being wise, for being someone they can go to with their problems, someone who can straighten them out when they're in a bind, who can answer their questions, can solve their dilemmas. Someone who has right view is like a pillar in the ground, firm, standing firm. It's like a pillar in the ocean, right? Where everything else is floating around. Here you have a pillar that you can hold to. Person with right view is like the compass. It's like the island. It's like the rock. Right? In Christianity, I think they talk about the rock. It's in the Bible, I think. Who is the rock? The rock is someone who has right view, because you can depend completely upon everything they say. So that's what we strive for in meditation. We work from the ground up. We try to understand the building blocks of reality. And then once we understand them, we are able to extrapolate. Building blocks, I mean the basics of experience. What is anger? What is it like? What does it lead to? What is greed? What is it like? What does it lead to? Mindfulness, what is it? What is it like? What does it lead to? Etc. What is the cause? What is the effect? What is the nature? And from there you can build up everything. Talk about problems in your life. Well, they come down to individual experiences. What is a phobia? Well, it's fear, and it's thinking, and it's attachment, and it's delusion. It's lots and lots of things. It's anxiety. And so you break it up into its basic parts. Right view helps you do that. You stop looking at things as entities, like this is a problem. Because once it's a problem, what do you do with it? What do you do to solve a problem? There's no way. It's atomic. And the word atom means something that's indivisible. Atomic means something that's indivisible. So it's actually a misnomer. The atom, the physical atom, isn't an atom. It's not atomic because it's divisible, but they thought it wasn't, so they called it an atom. Anyway, I like mentioning that because this idea of something being atomic. Atomic means indivisible. You can't break a problem, but what is inside? If you stop looking at the problem and look at the experiences, now I'm this, now I'm that, well, it's gone now. So this whole problem thing was just an illusion. It was a smokescreen. It stopped you from seeing what was really there. That's what right view does. Helps you see what's really there. So that's a half an hour, a little bit longer than I normally go. Normally I'm just on here for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, but I'm happy to go longer. And as I said, I'll be answering questions. So if people did have questions, I don't expect them tonight, but this would be the idea. You could post them throughout the talk, I guess, or you could post them now when I'm saying I'm just about to go. But you have to post them, not on YouTube. I'm not going to answer questions on YouTube anymore. Too big of an audience. I'm answering questions over on this screen in meditation.sirimangalo.org. The link will be in the description of this video. And I'm only answering them during this live broadcast. There's a problem there. The problem is that not everyone is live, right? This is only live in US. For people in Europe, they're surely watching this later, if they're watching this. Well, I'll think about that. But for now, people at meditation.sirimangalo.org, if you have questions, now's the time to ask them. Other than that, thank you. Have a good night. But I'll be staying on YouTube as well, if there are questions. If not, we'll just say goodbye. Because see, the other thing is to move some of you people over on this screen, over to this screen. So people from YouTube joining our meditation group. You've been watching my videos on how to meditate. Come meditate with us. Okay. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. So hey everyone, Brenna is here, Patrick, I don't know, I think. Tina, hi Tina. Aurora, hello. Tim, I don't think we met, but he's a regular, I don't think. Oh, you're moving around, no? Drew, Simon, Charlie, I think I know. Is that Charlie Brown? Robin, hi Robin. Tina is my Chinese translator. She translated my book into Chinese. So if there's lots of errors in it, you know who to blame. No, I was so impressed by that one. I mean, just to see, that was when it really hit me, because there were other languages being translated, but when I looked at this on the screen, Chinese, I thought, now we're in business. Now it means it. I mean, of course, not to put, it wasn't anything special. I mean, all the translations were awesome, but when your work is translated into Chinese, something about that, or maybe not. So I don't know about you guys. Can you see me on YouTube at the same time? I guess you don't need to use the live audio stream, right? You don't even need to click on it, because you can also be watching in YouTube. I don't even know, is it still yeah, it's still broadcasting, right? Good. So it's also, see, the live audio broadcasts have been recorded, are being recorded. Right now it's being recorded. And as soon as the stream stops, it's going to move that file to the live directory. So there's a directory on our server. It's got a whole list of all the files. Hi. I don't know how to say your name. Cesar, Kaiser, Caesar. Anthony looks new. QWL. Oh yeah, I should put the YouTube link. I have to think about this, but there's lots of potential. Right now I like the audio because, first of all, it's automatic. I mean, it's going to record that and put it up there. I don't have to do anything. I just click the button, got this mic here, and it's sending it to YouTube. Second of all, it's portable, because this is the recorder. So I just take this phone thing, and this, if I'm somewhere else, I just got the mic, got the phone. Bada bing, bada boom. Did the Buddha mention what things are atomic? There is like the smallest individual aspect of matter. It's called a kalapa. I think, I'm not really clear about kalapas, but it's like one experience of matter is made up of different parts, like taste or I don't know, one element of matter has visibility, sound, etc. Let's see, look in the Abhidhamma. That's physical. Mentally, there are three atomic things. I suppose the Chitta is atomic, Cetasika is atomic, but Cetasika are inside the Chitta, or they're part of the Chitta, or it's not exactly atomic, but you can't split one Chitta into two Chittas. It doesn't become Chitta ets or minor Chittas or something. A Chitta is one moment of experience, one atom of experience. But there are qualities to each Chitta. Each Chitta has different qualities. Those qualities are called Cetasika. So they're different. It's like billiard balls, but each one is different colored. Some are striped, some are solids, whatever. But they're still billiard balls. And then you have Rupa, and so Rupa has these Kalapa things. There are these individual aspects. And then you have Nibbana. Nibbana is indivisible. You don't get pieces. You can't take some of it and put it in your pocket. Your Nibbana is one thing. So I would say those are the atoms. Good question. We have 24 viewers on YouTube, which is great for something spontaneous. I'm gonna try to do this every day. So if you're watching this canned, tune in 9 p.m. That's what time it is now. It's 9, almost 10, getting close to 10 now. But try to do this every day at 9 Eastern. And I think I'm going to stick with that time. Unfortunately, I'm sorry that this makes it difficult for people in Europe, but I have an agenda. The idea is I'm going to incorporate this into a daily program at McMaster, which is probably not going to happen until January, but we have a big surprise. And the surprise is going to be announced on Sunday, next Sunday, so I shouldn't even be saying it. I'm spoiling the surprise. The surprise is, I may have even mentioned this before, the surprise is we're going to be trying to move, we're going to try to open a meditation center near McMaster. And so every day, try to have live sessions. People can come from McMaster University. At 7 p.m., we'll have open house. People can come and maybe we'll do chanting. I don't know. Maybe we'll just do demonstrations of how to meditate. From 8 to 9, group meditation. 9 p.m., this. Do it every day. So easy. What it would take to reach this kind of audience every day, how much work it would take for the individual and how much work it would take for many individuals. Right? It can't be done every day. But here we're going to do it every day. I should also take the quote. It shouldn't be very difficult. Take the quote and put it over here below the time. We'll put it somewhere on that website. Hi, Aurora. So no questions. I didn't really think there would be, but I thought I'd let you know that this is how it's going to work. Questions over there, meditation.sirimangala.org. The link is down there. So thanks everyone for tuning in and keeping up with the meditation practice. That's all for tonight. Have a good night. See you again, hopefully. It won't be every day. I probably will miss some days. So if I'm not here some days, stick around for 5-10 minutes to see, 5 minutes, see if I'm going to show up if you like. But after 5 minutes, I would say don't wait for me. Have a good night.